Right. So Minimax 2.7, let's go. All right, guys. So check this out. So when you set up OpenClaw initially, you're gonna have a situation where your OpenClaw agent is not really gonna be like agentic because like if you set up with the basic models like um, OpenAI, Mini, 4.0, that kind of stuff. I mean, it's good. It's good to set it up this way initially just to see how it goes. But other than basic chats, it's not really going to be any useful unless you connect to it, this model. So I used it today. It was absolutely bonkers. So I went ahead and purchased like $10 of Minimax 2.7, the subscription thing, just to see how that goes. And man, I gotta tell you, I'm really impressed. And it's hard to impress me, guys. Like, wow, I'm really impressed. Now, the best, as soon as I like, this is the type of model that you want to, that is kind of, it can sift through your existing skills and kind of modify them, morph them, wrap them around based on the new things that you're trying to do. And I noticed that it kind of does that pretty well. Uh, Now, of course, granted that you give it like the rights and all that other stuff, but anyway, the bottom line is Minimax 2.7, sheesh. I mean, it's pretty good deal. I got it to work. I put it to work right away in my Telegram bot to create a bunch of comments. So it's working hard right now while I'm gone. So it's working hard, but the problem is it's like doing too many things. I think right now it kind of went dark. Maybe try to reset the gateway. So and it went dark. But anyway, the bottom line is it's kind of, can I say it's autonomous? Um, Here's my experience with Minimax 2.7. What in the past 2 weeks, what I did is I used like Gemini 2.5, 3.0, and a bunch of other ones. And um, when I set up Minimax 2.7, I got, how should I say that? Because of everything that I already set up before, I was able to just tell it, take a look at my main framework file. So basically I set up like a wrapper that pretty much just categorizes my activities across personal, passionate, professional, and kind of scores it and prioritize it and makes the decisions for me and synchronizes the skills from Gemini to OpenClaw. So anyway, the bottom line is I will quickly whip out a skill with Gemini and then I would synchronize it with OpenClaw. That's kind of how it started. Then I was like, well, I mean, sometimes entire Gemini crashes, sometimes OpenClaw crashes. So what I would do in situations where it crashes, I would jump into anti-gravity. And inside of anti-gravity, I would say, I have this problem, and I would grab whatever the output from the other model and feed it into anti-gravity and say, look, you're crashing, go ahead and figure that out. If you use models like Gemini 2.5, whatever, Flash, it's just going to be, sure, it's going to be cheap, but it's going to be using a lot more tokens and a lot more time wasted. So from that standpoint, what I did is I set up like a router in a way where it's not just like an open router that connects to different models and then you get cooked waiting forever, but a router and OpenClaw that it just makes the decisions for me when to switch between Minimax 2.7 and Codex. Codex is really when you, let's say you started building and then you started using Gemini 2.5, you got cooked because it's like trying to manage a genius who has amnesia here and there. So that's basically the best way I could describe it. So once I started using like my Freedom Fusion router, which is part of the Feudal Educator clay So think of clay as the framework that I created. That could be thrown like a blanket on top of any use case. And when you use that blanket on top of any use case, it inherits the best practices, best properties, and emergent behaviors as well. So what that means is, let's say you are a side hustler on Saturday, and on Monday and Wednesday you're an instructor. You're teaching in university, and also like in the evening. And by the way, on Monday through Friday, you also have a professional life where you are engineer. But on Monday and Tuesday, you're a hybrid engineer, like you commute hybridly. So, like you in office part of the week and part of the week online, and your priorities switch throughout the week, and subscriptions switch as well throughout the week. And what you're supposed to switch into changes rapidly depending on which models are great, depending on what they can or cannot do. So I built a Fit and Fusion router that just makes it possible for you to not think about all that, and it just picks automatically the model that it wants to pick based on um, like complexity, your identities, and priorities. So priority gets automatically figured out based on just your conversations through the Telegram bot, and it knows right away like, oh, yeah, like when you start building something, it says if it can't figure it out what you're working on, if it can't um, cross-reference you to like what is it part of passion or professional endeavor or part of personal, it will literally ask you like, is this part of your personal endeavors? Are you doing this for your talent agency? Are you doing this for your low ticket offer that you're trying to pitch? Is this so? It learns as you build, and when it learns, it synthesizes different parts of the identities um, based on those priorities, based on how like what you're doing specifically throughout your life, uh, and it adjusts and reinforces and self-learns through those interactions. So, in simple words, when I go to the city on Monday and let's say Tuesday, that's my commute schedule. It already be like, oh, it reaches out to me and be like, oh, Rome, by the way, you're gonna have a quick time when you're gonna be walking from Grand Central to your office. I went ahead and prepared. I was being proactive for you. I went ahead and I prepared a teleprompter script for your CapCut, so this way you could go ahead and just read it out loud when you create content as you commute from Grand Central to work. Here it is. I'm going to go ahead and infuse that directly into your CapCut. Um, and of course, at that point, CapCut automatically opens up. Everything opens up on my iPhone, and I just go and I just hit the button record and start recording, explaining, showing everything in the city, walking through. It knows exactly like the time if I'm being late to the city or if I'm not. It looks at the information from where I'm at on the map, and it automatically adjusts. Um, and also, it knows that I teach in university. It prepares my lessons, my quizzes, creates breakout room activities for students, grades all the lessons and quizzes, and leverages information from other identities of other people, like who are part of the university side hustle that I'm doing, the coordinators, directors, because they never knew that like you could. So when I was asked to work in university, they were like, oh yeah, let's hire this guy to teach Network Plus. But I was like, I'm gonna teach Network Plus, but by the way, like I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to be really grading people. I just kind of wanted to be all in cruise control. And so I did. I built this Feudal Educator clay where everything is on cruise control. And right now I went ahead and I instantiated Minimax 2.7. It's a really rapidly evolving model that is, um, how should I say it? It's really like very good in terms of deciphering your mess that you created already before, providing that you like tell it, hey, by the way, use Feudal Educator clay. It has a very good kind of a inference way of inferring like what is going on. Um, if you build something, can it inherit certain properties or not? Now, um, it's super good in doing all that, and it's super cheap, and it just does things. It feels more agentic. And now, in comparison to Codex, Codex is like your architect, like really when you give it a pipeline to work with. Let's say you've been planning, because in real world you never plan anything. You just kind of do it, and then later the planning evolves and comes into kind of a reality. So with Codex, the way I used it and how I discovered to be incredible, um, when I realized like, oh my God, I'm spending so much time on Gemini 2.5. It's like it fixes one thing here, fixes one thing there, but I'm still feeling like a process prisoner. Nothing fully is being fixed. It's like managing minor scripts that's constantly being separated and isolated from one another, and adding a big context window like is not going to really solve the problem because like if you add everything you do into a memory and do it like this, it's gonna just hallucinate tremendously across all of your parts of life. So what I did is something really cool. I managed to create this kind of a identity freedom fusion router that kind of brings things together. And with Minimax 2.7, I was able to produce pretty good results. Now the problem is, even if you use Minimax 2.7, whatever it is, you're prone to some sort of a bug, some sort of a situation, some sort of a problem that's going to be running on your computer unexpectedly and needs to be decoupled from the from the OpenClaw. So meaning it needs to be running separately as individual heartbeat kind of thing. And now heartbeat can be useful when you make it work with a skill that checks, for example, like, hey, is are you working? Is OpenClaw working? And if it's not, it's going to be like, oh, let me go ahead and like troubleshoot what's happening. So to do that, you need to separate yourself from OpenClaw into skills, and that's why you need to have synchronizations between Gemini skills or wherever you decide to create those skills, whether you use Claude or Gemini or Codex. But at the end of the day, what I did is I used anti-gravity to construct powerful skill to troubleshoot those gateways and reset them if something doesn't work. And as a result, it was a pretty good deal. And Heartbeat kicks in and kind of remembers what's going on and it solves the problem. Um, Now, it's this health check kind of constantly checking. Is OpenClaw okay? Is OpenClaw okay? If it's not okay, it jumps out of OpenClaw. It literally like resets bunch of gateways. It resets bunch of processes and um, and basically restarts the OpenClaw gateways. So that was like the first tackle. As soon as I fixed that problem, I realized that every time I was trying to do something, it kept growing. The entire memory kept growing, and sooner or later I ran it into context rot. That's when Minimax came into power because all of a sudden it was able to sift through all of those complexities and kind of be able to do heavy duty type of lifting. So Minimax 2.7 was able to do that for me, and oh my God, I'm definitely going to be doubling down on that. I didn't really think that I'm going to be able to get so much benefit from a lot cheaper model than anything else out there. I started immediately using it for my personal endeavors, my professional, my passion endeavors. And the only thing is, what it's prone to is the same thing that any other model is prone to. If it if something breaks on your computer, it's not really going to save your OpenClaw unless you use it to build like a pre-build like a skill that just um, taps in into the heartbeat and checks on a regular basis like what's going on. But the heartbeat is something that you need to invoke on a system level. So heartbeat is not going to be invoked by your OpenClaw when your OpenClaw is dead. So Minimax 2.7, um, it has this. I looked at the benchmarks. The benchmarks are like really, it's impressive model, guys, and it knows exactly. Like today, when I was trying to quickly build a quick automation that just looks at infers everything from my everyday activities and synthesizes my personal life, my professional life, my passion, and builds an article out of that that is really realistic. That is not based on just hey, me writing something, but is based on whatever it is that I'm talking about on YouTube. So this thing taps in into YouTube, it grabs the summaries, it knows exactly it for what I talked about, it looks for the key phrases, and then it constructs appealing article that has a quiz, Google quiz in a mix. It posts on Indies community. Immediately, I start getting some folks be like, "Oh, man, I seen you going out there getting some pizza," and and I'm like, and the funny part is, I introduced crisscrossing that it kind of goes back into previous articles in Indies community, and it like looks for those articles, relates them, and measures them based on my identity score. Like the thing is, it gives a priority score for every one of those identities. And because I have multiple identities, I'm a side hustler, I'm a builder, I'm a creator, like I'm in different phases. It knows exactly what to say, how to say it. It comes back and tells me like, oh, yeah, you know what? This article I went ahead and I created for Indies community in school. It included a quiz and it included your link to your YouTube. And by the way, I extracted the latest summary notes from the YouTube before that because it was extremely relevant to what you were discussing. I packaged that together and I minimized the costs because I used my subscription from Minimax. you know, but all that is tied into, I mean, it's tied into Freedom Fusion Router and Clay, Feudal Educator Clay. So Clay is like a blanket that you just throw on top of any use case, and anytime you build any kind of automation, it inherits the properties from Clay. Uh, when I built it, I kind of just wanted to ground myself to syllabus. I was just thinking about a very narrow use case for how I wanted to just like teach in university, and I don't want it to be like providing false information. I needed to teach based on syllabus. So,
Hello, welcome to KFC. How may I help you today?
uh, yeah, can I get a combo meal with fried chicken? Can I get a, actually, you know what? Yeah, can I get a fried chicken, 2 pieces, and Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning?
Original or extra crispy?
Crispy?
Crispy. Two piece original. Crispy. Sorry.
Yeah, crispy, crispy.
For the side price.
Yeah, can I get fries?
For
And
the drink.
Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning?
Okay. That's it.
Can I get some of those apple pie poppers?
Okay. One.
Yep, just four for $2.49.
Oh. Okay. Four. Sorry.
Yep,
That's it.
that's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. You can thank you.
hmm So anyway, guys, like check this out. So this OpenClaw thing, it's like sitting there on my laptop on Telegram, and while I'm driving, like guys, like you gotta understand, when I go to the city, I could have clientele reaching out and be like, "Yo, I want to give you like $200 an hour if you teach me how to do this." And who is hunting for those opportunities? Obviously, not me, it's OpenClaw. During which periods it hunts for them? It hunts for them in periods when it's most um, like based on my schedule, based on where I'm at in the city. And it comes back to me and tells me, oh, can you go into this person's house and teach him? And this person is willing to pay 200 an hour. Yeah,
Something.
Hmm.
1329.
Yeah, there we go. So the bottom line is, I thought about it. I was like, man, I mean, that's kind of neat. Thank you.
1 second.
So right now I'm just gonna get some sweet lightning. I had to. So I mean, at the end of the day, guys, look, there's personal things that you do in life. There's side hustles. There's all sorts of, I mean, other things. I mean, for full-time job, guys, like I'm a full stack cybersecurity and cloud engineer, and I block all those things, enterprise clouds. I mean, what I do is I secure Anthropic, any kind of systems, and yeah, I mean, I just ended up blocking the hell out of the cloud, cloud Anthropic, and the perspective that you get in this channel, guys, is really clear. You're gonna get like the tea that many of you guys are missing, but really want to have it, but it's just the problem is nobody explaining it to you. Like why you use the Minimax, why use OpenClaw, like why use Claude, why use Codex, what's the purpose behind that? How do you monetize all that? Where do you find the money for that for to pay for all the tokens? How do you find people to do that? Like people mostly don't talk about that, and as a result, you kind of end up just being like a process prisoner, guys, and never end up really discovering the true value of what you could do right now in terms of spawning money and having fun and enjoying your life. But if you spend a little bit of time on Minimax 2.7 and set yourself up with um, with if you set yourself up, guys, with Minimax 2.7, it's going to be smooth sailing for you as a person for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is going to be easy for you to kind of understand all those complexities. So what I did is I set up Minimax 2.7 and I gave it a very simple task. And the task was like, take a look at my identities and build me a quiz and post that into quiz community into in this community. And boy, oh boy, I was able to do that rapidly, fast. Mm, mm. I got this chicken, guys. Let me show you the chicken. Mm, mm, mm. All right, guys. All right. So 2.7. Does it blow cloud out of the water? In my opinion, yes. Why? Because in majority of the cases, I never just like code, rely on OpenClaw just to code from scratch and burn tokens. In majority of the cases, I use tools like anti-gravity and Opus 4.6 inside of it, quickly burn through it based on anti-gravity subscription. Then the rest gets covered by other models that I also quickly burn through. Mm. Then, when I exhaust the subscription, I use the other tokens. Mm. I gotta get going, guys. I'm gonna finish this chicken.